One of my favorite moments in anime is when the anime moves off the main character for like an arc or maybe just one episode where a side character kind of gets the main character treatment, right? They get that spotlight. And most of the time this works, but sometimes it doesn't, dude. But this just hits hard for me every single time. And honestly, two of the best examples of this come from completely different kinds of series. So that's why I wanted to highlight in this video, right? Two kind of different side characters that bring so much to their show that they're loved by their community, and honestly probably a heavy favorite in being like their favorite character in the community. So the two characters I want to talk about in this video are almost complete opposites when you look at them, right? We have Tsukishima from Haikyuu and Hasegawa from Gintama, right? We have a sports anime and a comedy anime. You really couldn't be more different. The first character I would like to talk about is Tsukishima and how he became that awesome ass middle blocker for Karasuno. So we see Tsukishima's first really episode, right? His first kind of moment in the anime is from season 2, episode 8, Illusionary Hero. At the start of Haikyuu, Tsuki doesn't even feel like protagonist material whatsoever. He's detached from the group, he's very sarcastic, and he almost has no care whatsoever for volleyball as a whole. But underneath that attitude is someone terrified of disappointment. We see this in episode 8 of season 2 with the introduction of Tsuki's brother, right? And what he goes through with volleyball. Akateru's journey with volleyball is really an emotional one. We see him in junior high be the ace of his team, but yet when he goes into high school with Karasuno, he just doesn't even make the squad, right? He doesn't even make the cut. And he keeps up this lie, right? He keeps up this lie where he's telling Kei that he is on the team, like he's on the team. But when Kei goes to a Karasuno match, he doesn't see his brother on the squad. And it just breaks both of them down. It is bad, dude. It's bad. That experience changed Tsuki's entire view of the world. It changes his entire view of effort, right? Tsuki now thinks that caring too much only leads to embarrassment. So instead of caring too much, right, Tsuki decides to have that emotional safety net, which is why we see him enter Karasuno High School in the very first episode as more of a sarcastic kind of jerk, right? But then we get to really the most important part of this episode, where Tsukishima enters a gym and he gets this tutoring session or this mentoring session from Bokuto, Kuro, and Akashi. So as Tsuki is serving as just this blocking machine basically for them, Bokuto tells Tsukishima that he doesn't love volleyball yet simply because he hasn't had that moment to love volleyball. Bokuto promises Tsuki that he will have that moment, and when that moment happens, he will love volleyball. It's almost like overpowering an opponent. Then we have to skip a season to finally see the big payoff of Tsuki's hard work. We skip to season 3, episode 4, titled The Halo Around the Moon, to fully grasp Tsuki's character arc. So we then skip to Karasuno just gets hype as fuck, and that's the best part, you know what I'm saying? And specifically with this moment, but while Haikyuu uses hype to elevate its characters, Gintama on the other hand does the exact opposite to elevate its characters. Hasegawa is a great example of what I'm talking about, and I believe the episode that highlights his character the best is from season 1, episode 188, titled An Observation Journal Should Be Seen Through to the Very End. Hasegawa is introduced in Gintama as a joke character. He loses his money, he loses his dignity, he loses his jobs, you know what I'm saying, dude? He's basically a walking L, and Gintama just doesn't hold back on this guy, dude. There is literally an ongoing joke in Gintama, and the dude is called a madao, a guy who's basically useless. But I believe that's what makes this episode hit so hard emotionally for me. It's the fact that underneath the comedy, Hasegawa is painfully human and painfully real. The Daigoro storyline works real well because it strips away the joke of Hasegawa's character. Suddenly, us as viewers aren't laughing at him. We're seeing him struggle. We're seeing him kind of just live his life on a day-to-day basis, and it's bad. It's really bad. And what makes this mini arc even more emotional is that Daigoro, who's the kid, if you didn't know, still believes in him, right? Daigoro still believes in a guy like Hasegawa who really has nothing going for him. And even when society doesn't believe in Hasegawa, Daigoro is there. He's there caring for Hasegawa, which makes this episode 10 times more emotional. Gintama at its core is ultimately a parody anime, right? It's a comedy, it's a joke, but building on all the episodes with Hasegawa as a comedy character makes this specific episode hit so much more. We see the struggles, the pain, the absolute just abysmal lifestyle that Hasegawa suffers through every single day of his life. And it just hits so hard because however many episodes we've seen of Hasegawa kind of being that comedy guy, right? He brings the funny factor to the group. And then we see him just struggle, you know? It just hits so emotionally hard. It's kind of hard to watch this episode, really. One aspect of this episode that I really like is how Hasegawa never loses his way of life. He never loses his moral values throughout this episode. The real thing about this episode is that the family we see here is struggling, right? Their dad, the husband of the family, has left them, you know, he's done something. And Hasegawa is seen kind of taking over that role. He's doing his best that he can, right? And he gets this job interview and he sees that the dad, the husband, is at the job interview trying to change his life around. And the Hasegawa we know, he sticks to his values, right? He recognizes that the dad, the husband, you know, he needs it more than he does, you know what I'm saying? So Hasegawa goes into the interview and he just botches the shit out of the interview, dude. And ultimately the dad gets the job. And it's really just a great showcase of Hasegawa as a character. And honestly, this is something the best anime constantly understand. Side characters are at their best when their emotions are just as important as the protagonist's emotions. These specific arcs with Tsukishima and Hasegawa work so well because we've already spent multiple episodes learning about their character. We know their pros, we know their flaws, we know what kind of people they're like. So the payoff feels so good for them. Some anime use grief, some anime use comedy, some anime use hype. To me, it doesn't matter, the feeling is always the same. When a side character stops feeling supporting and starts becoming important, that to me means the side character starts becoming unforgettable. But anyway, guys, that is it for this video. Tsukishima and Hasegawa are some of my favorite two side characters of all time. Let me know some of your favorite side characters down below in the comment section. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that shit, dude. And I will see all of you in the next video, which will probably be another fucking Rent a Girlfriend trash ass manga review.